Hey guys, what's up? Is there audio? Yeah, I think so. We're playing some 510. I'm trying to see if we're all good here. Okay, I think we are. I'm called 4-bet. I'm not going to call 4-bet 9s and 10s very often, but my opponent will call them quite often, so I don't think this is going to be a board where we're going to have a particularly high betting frequency on. We rolled very low, so I'm just going to check my hand here. I would have checks with pocket 10s, pocket 9s, pocket queens, aces, kings, basically all my value hands as well, because I feel like I can't bet very often. I should be calling sometimes, raising sometimes, probably not very often, I would guess. So I rolled, like I'm probably going to roll like 30% raise or something like that. I'm going to call here. So we have a pretty reasonable check call, check call, check fold, check call. I'm going to call here. Not much to be said. Going to pretend to be thinking about this, but pretty gross spot to be in. It's relatively hard for him to have bluffs. Some of the bluffs that he's going to have, like ace-x suited, I might block here. So this is probably one of the worst bluff catching combinations as well. Let's see. Interesting first hand to start the session off with. I don't know anything about this player. How many tables is he playing? I'm going to think about this for a second, but I think I'm going to lean towards folding. Page not found. 2 tables. He's playing 2-5 as well, maybe. Bunch of 2-5 tables as well. I'm going to lean towards folding here, I think. Like he's going to have some ace-king offsuited. Probably that might be one of the hands that he might bluff with, but I'm just going to fold. I feel like this is pretty bad bluff catcher. Yeah. But I'm going to mark it. It's an interesting spot. Also, like, generally, people don't really over bluff in 4-bet pot in position. People call in and blast off notes. It's definitely an interesting spot to be in. Okay. We're going to try to get some tables going of 5-10 and then stream it. Wait, let me actually share this in our Discord server. If you're not in there already, feel free to check it out. This is a funny spot. Can't really explain why. I guess we call up. It's close. Dum 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 dum. I'm going to mix here, and I rolled low, so this is a like definitely not a pure bet, I think. So let me share this link. I'm playing multiple tables, so you only can see one this time. I'm relatively happy that we got a check here. Because I'm not sure if this player is going to... what this player is going to be doing. Do we ever value bet here? I don't think we do, because it feels like it should be block betting something like pocket tens plus, but you should also have a check raising range. So I'm not sure if I should be value betting this, what the threshold is. My guess is going to be like pocket tens and better, ace nine and better. We go 3/4 and check or something like that, but might be a bit too nitty. We're going to try something out today. So like, I've been playing a lot of Russian cash. I kind of want to see if I can play more 1k or at least rec tables. Games are not great, which is not surprising because this is one of the worst times to play. But the good thing about playing rec tables is that we get have a bit more time to discuss hands, questions, that kind of stuff. When I'm playing 4 tables of Russian cash, my game my gameplay hurts too much. So I'll have to see. We will have to see. Like the downside, the quite obvious downside is that sometimes you're not going to have too many tables, because like right now I'm playing on one all rec table as far as I can see, then one table with one potential recreational, and here there's potentially this guy's recreational, but he's not horrible. He plays like 30, 20 or something like that, I think. If I've seen it correctly here. Yeah, that's 20 hands ago. So I have to wait and see whether this is maybe next time I'm going to play Russian cash again, because the good thing about Russian cash is that you've got tables always. The nice thing about this is that you actually get to play some more poker rather than like basically punish a bunch of nits for being too passive. Might be easier to follow as well. So just give me your feedback whenever you're watching this and you're like, okay, well, I would like to see more Russian cash, I would like to see more rec tables. That's slightly higher stakes. It's funny, I've like over the last week I've had a couple of coaching sessions with guys that are playing these games. Like I haven't played them much myself the last, I don't know, couple of years. I've played them quite a bit earlier in my career, but yeah, not so much lately. But we'll see. Not sure if the easiest way for me to go and show the red tables, like drag it across the screen, probably not, but I also don't want to play around with like making multiple scenes in OBS too much. Here this is going to be pretty high frequency raise. I think we're going to check call 20% of the times or something like that. I could go even larger than this probably. King 6 is going to be the one that wants to defend a lot because you're blocking some calls. So, and also it gets counterfeited. This one gets counterfeited as well, but you unblock calls. Like it's going to call every king, so you're just going to get more calls when you check raise this as opposed to King 6. I wouldn't be surprised if 9-10. Like 9-10 is a very high frequency bet. I'm not surprised. I'm not sure what I rolled. I don't really want to give away my tags, like, but yeah, you will be able to figure it out probably. Basically, green tags are recreationals. We'll have to see if we can keep finding action. Let's see, because here we are playing with the recreational. That's good. Oh wait, you can see that. Like, I'm not going to table select too hard today because I'm streaming. I wouldn't be table selecting extremely. Like I'm not going to like insta leave the table and have like a very predatory mindset when it comes to table selecting, but I think it makes sense to be somewhat reasonable when we're paying 7 big blinds in rake roughly. So to be able to sit here, play with all, here not, but like with all racks, I think I'm going to check this. Like the good thing about him being recreational is that we get near clairvoyance when he checks the turn again. So and then we can decide if this is a queen. He insta checks. I'm going to bet 2 times probably, and now I'm just going to check and hope to see a showdown. We're going to check down. Yeah. The 9-10 on the 9-7-6 board, I think it was, would definitely be the 9 that I would bet most often. But I think I rolled particularly low there. I can't remember, but I was like, okay, that makes life somewhat easy. Here I called pre-flop. We're going to call the flop now. I'm going to call the turn. I'm going to probably call. It's kind of gross because 10, I got a shitload of value hands there. But yeah, I think I'm just going to call. I think he's going to be good enough to find some pocket 5s type of bluff. So I'm just going to call and move on with life. That's sad. Here you got a find a lot of bluffs. A lot of bluffs. You gotta basically not a lot of bluffs. You gotta reach quite deep to find the bluffs, which is quite tough. So one might argue that folding is better. I think probably calling is going to be fine because I feel like most racks will be able to find these bluffs in 2026. I want to say 2023, which is kind of weird, but. And we're indifferent there on the river, so you're gonna basically flip a coin in theory. So definitely keep it at the one table then, Soa. We'll see what kind of games we're going to be playing. One of the downsides is that right now we are playing on 3 tables, 2 of which are full with regulars. 1 table there's 1 recreational, so it is kind of an tough game to play. Multi-way, I think we just have one option here, and that's check. Oh wait, you can see that hand. Sorry. I will have to get used to that, but basically when check. Here I think we're going to bet ace-8 and better. Seems like reasonable. I might need to check back with some aces, to be honest, because people will have to have some check raises still. And I think people will be good enough and at these limits to still have those check raises. One table selection hack, by the way, if you're sitting on a table like this, like if someone joins, it's quite likely recreational, and you will have position on him. So probably wouldn't be leaving this table. Calling a 3-bet here, pre-flop. Going to go ahead and call. Real quick, probably going to shove here. I could prefer to have higher. That's kind of gross because it's ace-5 even is better than my hands. Because I'm ripping it in anyway, it's kind of gross, but what can we do? When we get snap called, it's not good. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Here we're probably going to lose another one because I'm not going to fold my 8 here. Which is a bit gross, but this is probably going to be a fine call. Okay, we gotta leave that other table. Okay, everyone else left. Yeah, I'm just going to call it off here. To be honest, unless this guy's extremely passive, this is going to be fine. Good luck. Tum tum tum. Not a great start of the session, but what can we do? Oh wait, that's what we want, okay. Not a great side of the session, but what can we do? Like the king 8 is pretty standard call, I think, on the river. We block some value. King is not a particularly bad bluff catching card. It's not a great one either. But the king 8 is pretty standard. Pocket 9s, I don't know. Like it might be a bit too light to shove there. But intuitively, it is probably going to be fine. I'm going to mark it down. Yeah, this one. Okay. King 8 I'm going to mark as well. So we'll review some hands towards the end of the session. These ones are going to be in part of them. This is the King 8 one. Seems fine to be calling the river with. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's not ideal. But we unblock like a bunch of the 9-10, Jack-9, Jack-10 type hands that would be betting quite often. We block some of the King-10, King-Jack type bluffs, but should be fine to bluff catch there. Unless he's not very aggressive, that would be a problem. And I think it was here, yeah, pocket 9s. Open. Yeah, 3-bet, which is fine. Calling more standard, but what can you do? But the ace-10, does it make sense to turn it into bluff? Yeah, turning my hand into bluff is probably better there. I like that idea. I'm not opposed to that idea at all. It's probably a reasonable idea. I don't expect my opponent to overfold necessarily. But I might be biased a bit by the Brazilian flag. Those guys just seem to, yeah, be relatively willing to call down and stuff like that. So yeah, like I'll be honest, a tough start of the session where we are down a couple binds, but nothing we can do. I'm going to check here again. I don't think better kickers, that's the only thing, I don't think better kickers are value betting the river. Like I think King Jack's probably not value betting, Ace Jack's probably not value betting the river. I'll go ahead and bet this. This is relatively thin, but... going to bet small. I would do that versus a regular with range. This is quite likely a recreational. And recreationals kind of randomly punt versus small sizes by calling flop and betting turn too often and raising the flop too often. That's good news so far. Like if the turn is 4 of hearts, it wouldn't be, but I'm going to time make a little bit, pretend that I've got a tough call here so that he's more inclined to pot bet the turn. Okay, that's good. Let's get it in. Wow. That's lucky. Fucking hell. I'm not going to run it twice. I think I want him deep or gone. Does that make sense? Ooh, I was like, fuck. This is an ace. It's going to be a really tough start of the session. And I haven't played 5-10 in... I played it a little bit last week, but no proper 5-10 session in a while. So I think the last time I grinded it was before we moved back to the Netherlands. And there's a fault. Okay. So yeah, it's always good to be aware of how, like, I try to be aware of how I'm feeling. So rather than just being like, okay, that feels shitty, I try to give myself some space and give myself room to feel like I've lost 3 binds right at the start. Going to feel like shit, right? Like it's just going to be the way it is. If you're like immediately down 3 binds, you're like, okay, fuck, this is bad. But it's okay to feel like that sometimes in poker. And I try to acknowledge the feeling and then try to shift the narrative to something that is more helpful. So this allows me the opportunity to test my resilience when things are going bad. Like I get to stress test my character a little bit today, which is in itself a good thing. Obviously, I would have preferred to be up 3 buy-ins, but now that I'm down 3 buy-ins, this is the moment where I can see how I'm dealing with this while I'm streaming, how I'm dealing with this in general. Like being down 3k in like 15 minutes or something like that, whatever it is. It is going to be stressful. It's just the way it is. It is going to be stressful as fuck. So, yeah. On the one hand, it's annoying. On the other hand, there's lots of opportunity here. And I'll still be able to have dinner, still get like play with the kids after dinner time, which is like my favorite moment of the day. So yeah, things could be worse, I guess. The only annoying thing is I'm playing 2 tables right now, and getting the 3rd table is quite tough. Already here, like this one is fine, but the other table here we are paying now to sit at this table. Everyone's paying to sit at this table for what it's worth. Like I'm guessing everyone is relatively close to one another in skill level. Even if someone's significantly better, they're still going to be paying, rather than 7 big blinds, 5 big blinds or something like that. Maybe they pay 3 big blinds, but they're going to be paying some. I really do prefer rec tables though. Like the speed of rec tables is much better for my decision making process. I make a lot of mistakes if things go too quickly, and like I out of fault some hands that I shouldn't, and miss some random data point somewhere, and then I click on and I'm like, fuck, I missed the data point. If I had more time to make this decision, I would have been better. Like basically pretty much all of the money that I've made was on rec tables in my career. So yeah, ideally I would like to see there be even less decision fatigue when you're sitting at tables. So like let GG let us open tables like you would on Ignition. Basically, you just like open tables and sit, and you don't have to like watch lobbies and have like just one table with like a shitload of people watching it, and then if someone clicks it, you gotta click it as quickly as possible, that kind of stuff. Is there a big difference between NL500 and 1K? I don't... Probably, yeah. Like the biggest difference is I think the amount of tables that are running, which means that it's going to be easier to find tables at 2.5 with... the next thing is the rake is going to be slightly lower on 1K. But because most of your winnings are going to be rake back on GG for the overwhelming majority of the players, actually all of your winnings are going to be rake back for the overwhelming majority of the players, you are in a spot where, let's say you get, I expect to get every promotion combined, I expect to get roughly 42% rake back, which means that 42% of 7 big blinds is like 2.8 if I'm breaking even on the tables. On 500 now, it would be 42% of 8. So like it would be 3.2 versus 2.8 big blinds. So your win rate will be slightly lower, but it's because of the way GG has designed the game. So most other tables there wouldn't be this difference. The racks at 500 now are going to be a bit weaker, mostly, although there will be some weaker racks here too as well. But like there's also going to be some very solid regulars that are not going to be at the 500 tables. So yeah, like I used to be on the camp, it doesn't really matter too much, but specifically on the GG, your win rate will be lower at 1K. Pretty much every other side, your win rate will be stable for the most part. One other annoying thing is I'm not going to be playing long enough, I think, to get into multiple leaderboards. I'm going to have a tough time getting into one leaderboard as is. And my rakeback in the Netherlands is already significantly lower, so I'm not super thrilled about this. Is even first decising just a fold, I think. Yeah, probably. Like Queen Jack might be okay, but with the lower breakback in the Netherlands, it's already not like a very chill spot to be in. Like the difference between my Dutch account and my account in Andorra, which I can't access right now because of being in the Netherlands, but the difference was reasonably substantial. Like I would guess like 1.5 big blinds per 100 hands difference in rakeback and this win rate, so pretty significant. So if I'm not going to make it in the min cash in the leaderboard, that would be basically suicide, but it is a lot easier if you can mix tables. Because then it's easier to get 4 tables going or something like that. Here it's relatively tough because I'm on 2 right now. Yeah, could play some heads up, but heads up I'm really poor at. So I don't really see the value in that. So the best solution might just be add some 500 NL tables, because like right now these are the lobbies. This is what the lobby looks like, I want to say. And there's 3 full tables running right now and 1 table with all racks, like this one, where we are hoping that the recreational is going to sit down at some point. And you can see this one is already breaking up a bit. Here I'm tempted to limp versus the recreational, expecting not to get the amount of races that I should, and if I do get the races, if he matches the frequency, which is already quite tough, he's going to fuck up the range. So tempted to build a limping range versus him. Because I feel like I know for sure I'm understanding that better and it allows me to play more hands. The Jack 3 not so much, only if you expect your opponent not to raise sufficiently, which is a somewhat reasonable bet to make. Here you could 3-bet, you could call. I rolled quite low, but also this guy's not 3-betting enough, so we might as well call and try to invite him in. Would play overbet and check. Like the toughest part here is mainly the fact that we need to check back hands like ace-4 and pocket 4s. And then we need to find bets with pocket deuces, pocket 3s, stuff like that. This might need a bet occasionally, but I don't think so. I think this is slightly too strong. I think it's just lower pocket pairs. And then we would go overbet and check. He basically has an advantage with top pairs there and second pairs. So we just go very polar for low frequency. I think on the turn I have basically a very simple decision again. I can't make it look like I do. So I'm just going to check here. I'm not going to play 3-handed here, that seems like suicidal. I'm probably going to fold. It's really tough for him to have a bluff here. It might be some still, but this feels like pocket 10s, pocket queens, king 10 type hand. Here we are playing versus Nazgebit. Check flop, check turn, and now we're on the river. Again, I'm still two-tabling, which I definitely don't want to do. Maybe mixing sides is a bit easier, but I can't really mix sides from the Netherlands, so I think I'm just going to check here and then we'll decide. Can you elaborate how higher stakes give higher rakeback ratio? I'm not sure if I'm following the question. Like basically what I meant to say like 5 minutes ago was if you're playing at higher stakes, then the oh, sorry, let me play this. Okay, so basically what I meant to say was if you're playing high stakes, let's say you win 0 big blinds per 100 hands on 500 and now 0 big blinds per 100 hands at 1k, 0 big blinds per 100 hands at 2k. And you'd be like, okay, my win rate is going to be the same at all, but your post rakeback win rate is going to be higher at the lowest stake because the rake will be higher, and therefore if you take 40% out of 10 big blinds if you play low stake versus 40% out of 5 big blinds at 10-20, then your win rate will be higher at the lower stake, if that makes sense. That was what I meant to say. I think I'm going to be bluffing here. It's kind of close, but I think we are betting. We block some of the calls, like 9-10 of hearts, queen 10 of hearts. Oh, we can't see the hand there, but it felt like a reasonable bluff to make there. We're going to have a ton of jacks. We're going to have queens plus. And also he should have some check raises with, I don't know if you can remember the hand, but like it was board was like jack, jack low. And he needs to check raise some jacks and then check call it versus the 20% on the turn. Relatively tough to do. I'm not saying that the average 1k reg is not able to do that, but it is something to take into consideration versus most regulars. Okay, now we're one tabling. I'm getting like into problematic territory here where I might not have tables in a second. No ace, no ace. Okay, that's good. Sorry, Tonek. Okay, we got a second table, that's good. But I prefer the recreational to stick around. I'm going to construct a pretty wide calling range. I think I might include this one as well. Getting a half pot bet here. I've probably got like the nut low. Like ace high is going to be defending before this. Then we've got some random suited connectors that we might have, right? That are going to be gut shots at least, or pairs. We're going to have some queen jack type of hands that would be defending before this. So this is probably not low. And we got a lot of pocket pairs that would be defending. On the wide side of acceptable, but this guy's not 3-betting enough. Like, one of the issues that we're running into is that this is going to happen quite often. Raise, call, squeeze. That's a good one. We've got a couple options here. We could go 1/3 and play a balanced strategy versus 2 players still. What we could also go is 3/4, and it's very clear that like Mateusz is going to be immediately aware of what's going on. I think it's tough. I think I'm going to go with the 40% and not make it particularly obvious that I've got a 7 versus Mateusz. That's a gross turn. I was going to say intuitively he might need to have some leads in theory here. And this is I think he accidentally might make a theoretically correct bet there. It's going to be very tempting to fold the river if he pots it here. Okay, we get a check, that's good. Then I'm just going to value bet. This is rarely a jack, right? And I think he will still call like an ace if I bet. But who knows? Like, there's going to be sometimes a jack, so that's something we should take into consideration. And it's really hard for him to call, so maybe it's just a check back, to be honest. I'm not sure. Okay, let's see if we can get another table. What I'm doing today is kind of trying to see if I can potentially start some sort of a challenge. Like, I feel like I like streaming I'm having a lot of fun doing this. I thought about it, and I think the Russian cash streams are kind of tough to do because you don't have as much time. So if I'm having a random thought and then like there's 3 hands that pop up at the same time, it's just really hard to make sure that there's some consistency. And then like ideally I would be streaming something like this and play like 1 million hands on stream and then share the results after or something like that. That would be pretty cool. The problem is like getting 1 million hands in when you can't get like at this moment more than 2 tables. It's kind of tough. I would, if I'm going to do something like that, I would want to play 1k ideally. If I can't play 1k, then 2k, and if I can't play 2k, then probably 2.5. But maybe 2.5 is best for stream because you can always get a couple tables. Also, I wouldn't feel too bad about playing some more, or maybe a mix like 1k and 2k, I guess. I don't know. If you are here and you haven't subscribed yet, then please do. No particularly good reason from my end other than that would help me a lot. I can't give you freebie, no free database reviews, no free courses, whatever, but it would just help me out. So. Let's see how many subscribers do I have. I'm not even sure if it's growing when I'm streaming. I honestly have no idea. I haven't looked at this in a while. Maybe the streams themselves. Someone said. Sometimes you get these. Okay, this I can vaguely remember this hand. Yeah. Well, it's probably fine. Like sometimes you get someone like very bad call on the turn. Like they just reply to YouTube Shorts or whatever, or just like I don't know. I feel like someone that would know whether it's a very good call or a very bad call on the turn would probably not take the time to comment on YouTube Shorts or some random rag, but. It's just me. Anyway, let's see. Oh, actually, we're growing a little bit. Like we are pretty close to 5k subs. That's pretty cool. 355 videos. That's insane. I didn't know that many already. One of the downsides here is that I gotta open a bit tighter. By the way, my position is pretty bad. I need to open tighter because this guy's going to call a lot, and then these guys have incentive to squeeze. So if I've got pocket aces, I'm making more than I would in a theoretical model. But if I've got, I don't know, like pocket fours, I'm making less because I don't get to win the blinds as often. Versus a short stacking recreational here. Like, this is an interesting spot. I'm going to barrel, I think, on the turn. My opponent should be calling a bunch of flushes. I think recreationals are probably going to be tempted to check raise those too often. On flop and turn. Like, I think right now there's very little flushes still around. The 10 is gross though. The 10 is gross, and we need to go slightly larger as well. I think I'm going to check back, but it's okay. I would probably bet on a lower card, but no, I think we want to check back. Wow, okay. That's good. Or like prefer to win a hand obviously, but like it's good that we didn't bet. Potentially would have value owned myself on some rivers. Need to check range on the flop, check pretty high frequency on the turn and my hand pure. And this is just a give up on the river, I think. On an ace especially, we're going to check a lot, so we just need to give up here. Now that I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, would it make sense to construct a limping range and go for some limp re-raises? I think it might be a cool option. Yo, Nachos, I'm thinking of going full-time in poker and was wondering about your journey, mainly. Tom. How much of a bankroll did you build up before deciding? 1 and 2. Do you only have poker as a source of income? Okay. Let me get back to those questions. I've got 2 hands now, which for Russian cash is nothing, but like I want to play somewhat precise. I'm going to go 3/4 here. Okay, I think this will play itself more or less. So, how much of a bankroll did you have when you went pro? Roughly 100k euro, if I remember correctly. So, and this was in 2021. Wait, this 2021? When did COVID happen? COVID was in like 2019, 2020, right? Yeah, so I had roughly 100k, and I had already some coaching income. That helped a lot. So I moved from 5 days a week to 4 days a week in 2019. Then from 4 days a week to 2 days a week in 2020. And then in 2021, I quit completely. And I knew, like, I was teaching full-time, initially full-time and then part-time later. And I knew that I was in a very good spot to get back into teaching if I wanted to. Because I was teaching like there was a pretty big teachers deficit, and I was a male teacher in like a field that was dominated by women, which if you're a woman I think is like a negative. In my case I think it was a positive, because people actively try to get like an even spread. I'm going to barrel here. Oh wait, wow, I almost clicked like random roulette. Like, can I just remove this? Okay. So I did have a pretty decent bankroll, 100k euros, which like it depends a bit where you live, right? If you live in Eastern Europe, it's going to be different than if you live in. Okay, that's okay. Gross. Yeah, I did a video on it, the Going Pro. Like that might be good to watch. That's a good point. But it depends a bit on where you're living. If you're living, let's say you've got a family in California, and you currently make 100k USD per year, then it's going to be tough to go pro. If you're a 22-year-old dude in Eastern Europe, it's going to be a lot easier because you could probably, like, even if you make a modest income from poker, you could easily survive, or maybe not easily, but you could like quite comfortably survive. You could probably just move on your own because the rents are pretty low. So it's stuff that you got to take into consideration. Yeah, like I could bet half pot versus the recreation. That's a reasonable point, Rob. And I'm kind of torn because we're like at an SPR of 1.1, and nothing sucks more than having to bet half pot and then he shoves. Like I might have been biased by a hand that happened last time on stream, where I got raped. Let me pull up the hand. That was like a fun hand. I got literally annihilated there. I was like, fuck. I don't want to play poker anymore now. Nitrack as well. Let me show you this hand. So this was the hand. You can see the hand history, but I'll tell you. So I went 3/4 on the flop, went overbet on the turn, and went 3/4 on the river here, and then he shoves for like a min raise, basically, a little bit less, and he has ace-4. I fold, show my ace-queen, he shows his ace-4. Nitrack, a nit fish, right? So I don't know. Yeah. Why are you not adding anti-tables, softer field? Probably, but also I haven't studied anti-ranges. There's going to be different strategies post-flop as well. I think you're now able to sometimes range bet 75 and stuff like that. I think I'll have a reasonable intuitive grasp on the differences, but probably not as good as someone that has studied it. Also, rig is higher, and most important is going to be, I've got like 4 hours here. If I'm playing in the afternoon, I want to make it into the leaderboard. I'm not sure if I'm going to get into the leaderboard, so yeah. Today I'm just going to try to mix one stake, basically, which is going to be 1k today. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks. I'm tempted between going. I kind of want to go and play rec tables for a million hands on a specific stake and stream that. Yeah, wow. Tank called his king 9 there. Wow. Reload, please. Can we get a reload? No, we can't. But for stream, it would be best to have tables somewhat consistently. And then at 500 it's a lot easier. Like if you look at the difference in the amount of tables that are running right now, 500 now quite a bit. At 1k, not so much. Yeah. Martian Cash 200, probably the toughest game on GG. Yeah, like especially with table selecting and rec tables, I could get behind that. If you take the approach of just playing any table with 1k and 2k, and if you're just like taking it from a perspective of big blinds rather than swings in dollars, because like then definitely if you're taking into consideration the swings, then 1K and 2K are much tougher. So I can sort of get behind you in terms of accumulating a win rate in big blind per 100 is going to be very tough at Russian cash. It will be very tough at 1K and 2K as well, but a bit easier because you can table select like I'm doing right now. Just playing 2 tables. Probably going to leave this one because I don't want to play on an all rag table. Like this is also very annoying in rag tables. Like this, they should be doing something to prevent this. Like something that would cost them money probably, but they should be doing something. Dude, I'm not folding, but like, I kind of want to fold. Like, is this going to be? This is kings and aces, right? Do I fold kings here pre-flop? Fucking hell! I feel like a nit. I'm probably just going to call off, but this feels like aces always. Oh, kings! Wow. Such a weird hand. I was really unhappy getting it in with kings. It doesn't really happen very often, but I don't think I can. I think it's just one of those spots where he shoves kings and aces, and I call kings and aces, and go and be annoyed with myself every time he has aces and I've got kings in. I'll be like, see, he has it. Fucking annoying. Should have folded, and now I'm like, okay, well maybe it's fine. I don't know. I don't think there's much I can do there, but. I'm really trying to get another table, but it's very competitive right now. Like a lot of shit like this where someone reserves a seat and everyone's taking it within a nanosecond, and then the seats are getting unreserved because it was just someone fucking around. And I'm one tabling right now as well, so. I like the anti-format as well. Like, to be fair, like the anti-format is a lot of fun. I've coached, obviously, like I've coached a lot of players because of I'm running a CFP, and then there's occasionally some players that are playing that format specifically, and I think there's a lot to it. Not just because recreationals are going to lose at a higher rate, rake will be a lot higher as well, but also because there's so many spots where, because there's a lot of multi-way action, in theory you should be very careful. You should be playing relatively defensive multi-way in a lot of spots, because if you don't, then suddenly you're in a situation where you don't have knotted hands anymore, and other players might, and that might be problematic. That's a fair argument, Robin. I think I like that. So maybe that's the solution. Like study anti-games and just play those more. Maybe, right? Like just play a bunch of anti-tables, and that could be fun. Like another thing that I was thinking is like, if I'm able to deposit more on this side, I think I'm able to deposit like 6k a month right now, which is not a lot. But if I got some money on the side, I could mix in some games that are running right now. Something like 5k is running, which should be fun. I've played it a little bit when I was in Andorra. Not on this skin, it's iPoker, as an iPoker skin, for this work. Yeah, like I've got empty tables open right now, Andrew. Like it's the only thing that, like, there's a couple ways to do this. One is you're going to sit and rake battle a little bit, but the rake is like the effective rake for me will be roughly 4 big blinds per 100 hands. So let's say I'm paying $40 per hour. If I'm assuming I don't have if I don't have an edge. And the regular doesn't have an edge either. Like I wouldn't mind battling a bunch when I'm playing on any other side and I'm paying like 2 big blinds or like less 1 big blind effectively per 100 hands. And it's like, okay, I'm to get a seat at the table, I'm betting, I'm paying, let's say, $8 an hour or something like that. With like 70 hands per hour. But yeah, like Tuesday afternoon, hard to get tables right now. And then if you're paying $50 per hour to just sit there and play poker versus a bunch of racks, then yeah, like I'm probably going to be better off not playing or playing some other format that is more entertaining for the stream and where I'm actually winning. If you got full rake back, it's probably a bit different, but yeah. I was going to say, like, this is probably a reasonable leading option here. I think I gotta fold now. Ah, fuck. Click the reserve seat. All the seats are fucking taken, so tilting. Jesus fucking Christ. Within a nanosecond, you get like a table like this. Luckily, there's that fish, but it's also kind of that's one thing that I feel like is something that doesn't really align with what I would want to do. Is like GG forces you in a way by the rake structure to bomb hunt if you want to play rake tables. I don't really like that as much. If you're playing rake tables at high stakes, I would very much prefer to be some sort of solution where you could sit and when there's a recreational, the rake is higher, and then when the recreational is not there, the rake is lower, something like that. I know that is a kind of a tough thing to code, but I could probably fold here. There's a solid rake, but I'm streaming. I've got one table right now. I'm talking a lot about seat selection right now, by the way, because it's very relevant for this session. Why cannot you deposit more? Regulation. Basically, in order to get the 6K per month, I needed to prove that I had a sufficient income. Luckily, I've got a company, and so I could prove income like that. And they were like, okay, we can give you 6K per month. And then I said, okay, but what if I prove that I've got like X amount? Like I didn't say an amount, but like based on my net worth, my all my investments and stuff like that, can I get something higher? And they said, no, it's going to be 6K per month based on your income. So 6K a month it is. Yeah. Just go Russian cash and boring rect tables. Just annoying as fuck. Just the table selecting. Sure. That's a fair point. Like I'm not as good as you are in playing. Like basically, like I said earlier in the stream, all my hands, like 98% of my hands lifetime have been played on rect tables. At least 98 of the hours I've played. We're going to call here. Could be 4-betting sometimes actually. I want to roll 20% so that it would be over 80. And then call this. So I'm just more of a rect table guy. Mostly because VPIP will be a bit higher. That's like fun, more fun to me. Also playing 8K hands a day, I don't really see as fun. I want to really think about the few hands that I'm playing rather than having to play a lot of them. I think we just call here. I don't think it makes sense that we could raise potentially, but like just call. Pretty good turn. I'm going to mix here. I would roll probably low frequency of bets when I've got a jack in my hand. And we rolled quite low as well, so. There's no queen-jack combination here, which is good. Right, is there a queen-jack combination? Seat, fuck. Oh no, okay, it's no seat. It's so good. Maybe shoves some crying a little bit. But I think I gotta call then. Like there's going to be some pocket nines, pocket eights, pocket queens. I was like fucking around with this dude. I'm not sure what it is, but he does it to me as well. So I think we're like. Always makes me feel. I don't know. Like winning versus him makes me feel better. That's weird how that goes. Winning is great. Winning versus him is better. I have no clue who this is, by the way. Like I think he was a streamer. I think it might be Dutch as well, but I'm not sure. We're going to have some leads here. Going to go with a block bet and an over bet. This one will go. Oh wait, do we want him to? We want him to call an 8 actually, right? Oh no, 8 is always calling. Oh wait, a 9. A random 9 should be calling here. And don't want him to fold a random 9, so when the 8 hits, we have the super straight. Going to block bet again. This is close. Nice. Jesus, that's like communism. Yeah. Like, I get the point. Like, the point of it is, like, to protect recreationals, obviously. It is kind of weird that I'm not allowed to deposit more, but I knew that when I was moving back to the Netherlands that it would be tough here to live as a professional. It's still possible. Like, it's not Germany. Germany is really bad. Germany, you've got extra rake. Did I not get a seat here? Okay, wait. Fuck, Jesus. I'm 4th on the waiting list. Jesus Christ. I was like pretty sure I got a seat there, but I guess not. Where are they mixing in folds, I think? Well, I'm not sure if 6s or 5s mixes in folds. Probably 6s. Emerging cash, it's definitely 6s that mixes in folds, but if it's close, like kind of close like this, then you want to defend the suits that are on the board. So like the heart is not great. If we want to have if we have a spade, it's going to be calling more, because then we can turn a 6 of hearts, the rainbow turn. Okay, we're getting pretty close back to even, which is good because we were down quite a bit, but the problem is now we can't find tables. Lots of different strategies are possible for my opponent. I should be calling sometimes, raising sometimes. Rolled quite low, so I'm going to be calling this time. I would guess that most aces are going to be betting for this sizing. And then a lot of draws. Again, calling sometimes, raising sometimes, calling now. I think now we just have to lead here, which is kind of a weird spot to be in, but we don't really have that many bluffs, and we're going to have a ton of jacks that are calling the turn bet. We're going to go. The most common jacks that we're calling are going to be with diamonds though, so I'm not going to have too many. Well, we have king jack, queen jack's probably calling, jack 10. Really hard to find bluffs as well. Cool hand. So we don't get too many tables, but when we do get tables, we do get into some interesting hands. A very pointy hand. Playing some heads up now as well to get a table going, because I don't want to lose this table and then lose all my action. But it's definitely not plus EV to be playing heads up, especially since I haven't studied heads up ever. We'll see. I think I might look into like playing more of the. Oh, this is interesting. I think I'm going to be block betting here. We're going to be shoving here. But I think I like the idea of potentially going and studying the anti-game a bit. Because there will be plenty of tables of 1-2 running, I think. Maybe even some 2-5. It should be fun. Also, the win rates are going to be pretty decent in those games. And I think I'm well suited for it. 2-5 is... The problem with 2-5 is like there's not one table running. I guess you won't need much of deposit if you can't find yourself sitting on more than 2 tables at once. Yeah, like right now there's not a lot running, but like sometimes 25-50 is running, and like then I won't have enough to play with right now. Okay, this is not good. Let me leave this table as well. Right now there's a couple tables running, I guess. Here, some 5-10, something like 75-50 is running. That one in particular I would be interested in playing, because that's the one where you don't need a CD script for, probably. Maybe the anti-games are the solution. That should be fun. I never really thought about it, but it would be cool to, for once, study a new game format. They're going to be running 24/7, so like you will never, like that's one of the things with doing, like let's say we do a challenge 1 million hands of 1K, and then I open lobbies and there's 1 table running of 1K, 2 tables running of 1K, which sometimes happens in the afternoon. Okay, fuck. What do we do now, right? Like, we could make it 1K plus, I guess. Not particularly sure. If the 25 table, if we get someone sitting there, I've got it open. And we can check. Close open, big blind is sitting at 13 big blinds. What do we got here? Is he going to shove? Oh, no. Bet 75 and check. Going to have to check this occasionally. I think I'm going to be checking it like 1 and 3 times or something like that, so this is going to be a bet. Probably going to check the ones with a heart less often, by the way. Betting at a pretty high frequency here. And I think king's pure. Like I want to potentially have some checks with aces, but pretty high betting frequency on the turn. Fuck, what happened here? Did I call pre-flop? Or did I open? I opened, okay. Check, insta check back. Not going to read too much into the timing, but generally I would assume that this is slightly weaker. Man, probably pure check on the turn. Why do you min-raise EP and RFI 2.5 in late position? I'm going to check here. Like with the ace, like he needs to bluff catch some ace highs. I think if I bet here, relatively tempted to check and go to showdown. Okay. Also, I unblock some. I block some checkbacks, but some ace highs need to check back. Those are the most frequent checkbacks on the river, I think. And if I've got an ace in my hand, I make it more likely that he's going to be betting his hand that might not contain an ace, if that makes sense. So let me show you. If I've got an ace in my hand, it makes it less likely that he's going to be checking back ace 9, ace 7, ace 5, ace 3, ace jack, offsuit then. So yeah, and making a bit more likely that he has some random king 9 type hand that he's bluffing now. Okay. Why do you min-raise EP and RFI 2.5 in late position? When you're opening in early position, then collectively you're getting 3-bet more often because there's still 5 players behind you that could 3-bet. When you're in later position, you get to open wider because everyone, like let's say I'm opening on the button, then there's just 2 players that could 3-bet still, and so the amount that we'd fold versus the 3-bets is more, but we don't get 3-bet as often, if that makes sense. So we get to play. We gotta go. We gotta go smaller in earlier positions because then we minimize the amount of open fold risk. So like open and then having to fold to a 3-bet. I'm not sure. Like I feel like that was like the most retarded way I've constructed a sentence in English in a while. So I hope it was still. If you were still able to understand it. I think there's like an article by that guy from Poker Giraffe. Is it Poker Giraffe? Something like that. Let me see if I can find it. Can't find it. Like I'm pretty sure like it was like some sort of an article made by Poker Giraffe on Run It Once or something like that. Or like he made like a very detailed reply to some question about it. I can't remember. Might be able to find it if you figure out what his nickname is on Run It Once. Pros, what's his nickname on Run It Once? Q, is it something with starting with a Q? N-O-P... King Yang, oh yeah, I think King Yang. Ah, fucking hell. Maybe not. Maybe I misremembered. I don't know. Raising seldomly, if we do for larger sizes, calling most of the times. I'm just going to roll on these spots. I don't really think there's much value in doing anything else. He went relatively small here, so I don't have a massive advantage here on the king. If he overbets or like goes 3/4, specifically 3/4, we might have more of a leading range. I don't think as much here. Maybe a little bit, but I think I'm going to check with my queen high. It's kind of weird. I don't know what kind of bluffs I would have other than this when I call the flop, I guess. So maybe this has just got a pure bluff. Who knows? Ram is open. Ooh, insta fold. Still trying to get more tables, guys. Like I'm at 2 tables right now. 2 of them I'm not winning pre-reg back. Definitely not. Might not be winning post-reg back because this is the recreational. We're having some fun, but like definitely not making any money. So yeah, I think in the future I'm probably going to move down in stakes because I don't want to. Yeah. But we'll see. Maybe mixing 5 and a no 1k would be fine. Maybe I just go and play those anti-tables. This should be fun as well. Okay. Going to go small and check here. And I would guess that this is going to be betting about half the times or something, like maybe a little bit less even without a club. So I'm going to check it this time. I try to play the flop here relatively straight up. And this is just going to be fold. I could probably bet reasonably often though, like maybe I need to bet that a bit more often. I could potentially just range bet and move on with left, would be reasonable as well. Bit wide of a 3-bet, but should be okay. Gone down. Like this is, I don't know. Like this seems like not. This would be not be. Jesus, can't construct a sentence anymore. I'm not drunk, I promise you. This seems like this is not my idea of fun. Basically, sitting there with 10.5 big blinds and I'm waiting. We are going to have to fold sometimes with 8s, I think, in this reg structure, and then potentially 4-bet at a low frequency. I think we're going to defend this though. One third roughly. Guessing indifferent, so trying to match the suits that are on the board. And those ones I'm defending, the other ones I might fold, but I think this is probably, actually this is probably a call. Just hitting an 8 is going to be too good. Probably make my pocket 8s indifferent. I prefer to call pocket 8s before pocket 10s, I guess, and pocket 9s, because I think king 10, king 9, ace 10 will be in this. So I think this is probably going to be a call. It's kind of a weird spot to be in. I'm not sure about the turn, but like first half pot we gotta defend a lot, and then we gotta decide. Shirachi typically not the guy that's going to bluff an awful lot. Interesting spot. I'll fold, I guess. This is one of the reasons why I think pocket 10s is, by the way, better. Bit annoying, I'll be honest. But by pocket 10s is a better fold on the turn, and pocket 8s is a better call. Oh wow. Good bluff by him. Tap my hat to you, sir. Like, back in the day, Zelko, when he was still named Shirachi, was way too type passive, like way too nitty. I think these days he's a lot better. He's definitely bluffing more and getting more into it and annoying to play against. Back in the day, you could just like basically, in a delayed c-betting note, you'd always know that you basically know that he was going to fold because he was folding way too often in those spots. You could just bet one big blind and get him to overfold. These days he's a lot better and a lot tougher to play against. So good for him finding the bluff there. I'm folding here. Guys I've been streaming, like I've been watching my earlier streams, can probably tell that I'm rolling much more. So like I'm RNGing much more, especially on the flop and on the pre-flop. Pre-flop and on the flop. Not so much on the turn and on the river. Try to think more about my hand properties, about my player's profile, about general tendencies of the pool. Hand properties, like basically GTO properties. What are going to be good defense, what are going to be worse defense. Mixing here, mostly calling. Block betting here. Call flop, call overbet turn. Now we gotta decide on the river. Queen of Spades is pretty good to bluff jam. I'm not sure. King Queen is going to be particularly good. Queen 10 probably better. I think I'm just going to bluff jam here with the Queen of Spades. But yeah. Dum dum dum. Ooh. That's good. Sweaty hand palms there. Got inspired by that guy in the chat that was telling me I should bluff jam that other hand. Why is the Queen of Spades good to bluff catch with? I'm assuming there's going to be a pretty wide range of players in the chat right now. So some of you might be like, yeah, it's kind of obvious, but others might not. So we're going to be jamming King, Queen of Spades, Queen 9 of Spades, Queen 8 of Spades, Queen 10 of Spades. I'm not sure how big you went pre-flop, but Queen 7 of Spades might be in there. So a bunch of spade plus queen combinations. We are going to... Fold is probably fine here. So because we're going to jam those hands, our bluffs want to mimic that a little bit. So they want to have the Queen of Spades here. In particular, because our opponent is going to have some bad calls with Queen Jack with the Queen of Spades, for instance, or Ace Queen with the Queen of Spades. Ace Queen with the Ace of Spades. I'm kind of in a weird spot where I'm bluff catching on the river here versus... Let's see what happened here. Check, 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 check. Okay. I'm going to call with curse. So I remove some of those hands that are going to value bet and then call. Because like something like queen, let's say queen jack with the queen of spades might be a pure call versus check raise, but then pocket fives might need to mix in folds here, if that makes sense. So in absolute sense, pocket fives is stronger, but just because of how ranges interact, you'd want to have the queen of spades here more when you're bluff catching, because that's going to be my one value hand, making my most likely value hand. And therefore you make it a lot more likely that I'm going to be having something that's not a flush, basically. Connect my encoder and go live. I am live. What are you talking about? Still two tabling today. So I think today is just going to be... It was a good test to try to get in some hands at 1k, but like playing 1k as my only stake is definitely not going to be what I want to do. I'm going to call here. One of the purest of checks. I think this is one of the few boards where we don't want to go small in this formation, on this node. Like you do a lot of small betting on this node versus check raise check, but not really here. I'm gonna check. I'm just going to check back. I don't really see any other option. Oof, we're one tabling now. So we'll see, maybe I'll stream more 500, I don't know. Like, it will be a bit easier to find tables at 500 now. Like, these are the lobbies right now. We've got, how many tables at 500 now? Like 10, 15, 20 maybe? Whereas how many full tables at 1k we've got running? 3. This one is dying. This one is all rags. Yeah? Oh, thank you. Nice. My wife brought me some homemade cakes. I'm going to eat. I'm not sure if that's that. Yeah, sorry about that. It's a good cake though. Kind of not low. Not sure if he full pure, but it goes relatively large as well. like 25% instead of 20 or something like that. Okay, cool. Let's try to find additional tables. Can't technically range bet here. Do you also play coin poker? Maybe there's more action there. I don't, because of tax reasons. This is tax free for me. Coin poker would not be. I know that a lot of Dutch players don't really care too much, but I do. Not because I have a strong love for our tax agency necessarily, but I've got a company. Chances of me getting checked are probably a bit higher. Yeah, not really worth the risk for me. I'm going to call here. I'm not entirely sure if I can cut out the raising range completely, but I'm just going to do it here. Checking most of the time, sometimes betting, I think. Although, not sure. I think we just have a clear check back here, and I was going to say hopefully we win versus an overpair without a heart or something like that. Running pretty good, like I can't complain about that. I think for my own preference, I would probably play more Russian cash. The annoying thing for stream is that I can't play well and talk at the same time. It's just too much. It's just too much hands going on, too much action. I'm just not able to do that properly. So, yeah. I barely can keep up with just playing 4 tables of Russian cash, let alone like having to talk and reply to chat. Like right now, chat is a bit chill. Also, probably because there's not an awful lot of action. Sometimes like there's a bunch of questions, and then I don't want to ignore that. I'm going to 3-bet here, like, but all the actually might not be great here. Whatever, it's probably fine. It's probably going to call too much and not 4-bet enough. If he does that, then we don't want to 3-bet this, but we want to 3-bet Queen 9 suited. You're going to go with a small c-bet. That's good. Or it could be worse, I guess. Pretty standard call here. Fairly high betting frequency for him. It's interesting that he chooses this sizing, because this is not necessarily a sizing that I would guess is going to be used very often, because he won't be able to bet Queen 9 or Queen 7 for this sizing. I'm going to call though, because dude seems pretty aggressive, but not super thrilled about it. Yeah, okay. Let's see what the damage is up until now. Why did you leave Andorra? My wife got homesick. We've got 2 young kids, 2 and 3 years old, 2.5, 3.5. Like I actually yeah, like I don't know, whatever, doesn't really matter. But like almost 3 and 4, and my wife missed the Netherlands. She is pretty close with her family. It's not that I'm not close with my family, but she's more of a people's person, more of a family person than I am. So we collectively decided we were going to move back. So like it's the family. That if I was just alone, I would have probably stayed for the rest of my life in Andorra. I really liked it in Andorra. Also, part of it is because I'm not from a large city myself in the Netherlands, so I live in kind of a shitty, small coastal town. I think it's a city. It is a city, but like it's more like town vibes. A lot of dormant, empty stores in the city center. It's like one of the stereotypical towns in the outskirts, with not a lot to do. Generally quite poor. And then like in Andorra is like kind of the opposite. It's still like it has a town vibe, which I really like. So that I really like, but it's a lot less crime, a lot safer, a lot cleaner, and I really like the mountains. I like the Netherlands. There's barely any mountains. Everything's flat, but in Andorra, obviously, there's a lot of mountains, and so I didn't really knew. When I went there, I couldn't foresee how much I liked being in the mountains and just walking around and like walking for 5 minutes and then having a view of the entire city. Something that I really like. So yeah, like I would have stayed for sure. And then like the companies, like company taxes are a lot better there. Capital gains taxes are a lot better there. Poker playing is a lot better there. So it's like a lot, like basically we're paying a lot of money right now to live in a shitty coastal town in the Netherlands, which I would never think about doing, but yeah. But me and my wife, we are together for 11 years or something like that. We almost 12 years, I guess. Like I met her long before I was a successful poker player, so we're going to call her. It's kind of gross, but okay. By the way, you have a company for your CFP. How does it work? Are the players considered your employees, or what's the structure? Thank you. That's a tough one to answer because we changed it recently, and it would depend a bit. Like they're definitely not my customer, my employees. That would be. And they're customers basically. That's the yeah, that's basically how it works. They're customers, they pay you invoices and stuff like that, and then there's some details on like how we structured it, but it's pretty irrelevant for this chat. Yeah, again, that would be different from country to country as well. If you're in some countries, you could basically, you'd be either very low tax or tax free. In the Netherlands, you'd have, like we've always paid full tax on everything, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. But again, Andorra was a lot better for that because you just pay 10% tax. So it's almost like it's tax free. It feels like tax free. There are some ifs and buts, specifically when it comes to moving there. Like it costs quite a bit of money to set everything up, and then when you leave again, you need to like pay the lawyers their fees again to arrange everything for you there because we don't speak the language. Just checking right now because I realize I should be getting some money from Andorra. not yet. But there's a 50k bond, basically, that you get back when you leave. Yeah. Realistically, if I let's put it like this, like if I wanted the maximum amount of money, I would not stay in the Netherlands. I would probably not have started the CFP, as weird as that might sound, but I would have just played poker more hours. Because with the taxes, and like you pay VAT as well. So yeah, and the tax rates are quite high in the Netherlands, whereas poker is generally tax-free. So I'd probably just play poker. I would have had like, it's a lot less fun, I would guess, but also like it would have saved myself a lot of headache and stress. Because like, especially initially how we structured it, there was a lot of room to get scammed. It's just the way it was. And so we did occasionally get scammed for quite a lot of money. I don't know who this is, but I'm the 4-bet, I think. I never understand how people can live for so long in the cold weather. I'm not sure if you're referring to the Netherlands or Andorra, because in Andorra, like we had a summer where it was like 4 or 5 months of like at least 20 degrees Celsius. And quite often warmer, like between 20 and 30. Sometimes a little bit warmer even. So like Andorra is perfect like that. You have the sun pretty much out always. So right now, like obviously there's some variance in this, but on a random day in February, you'd expect it to be relatively cold, but it doesn't feel as cold because the sun is out. So like last year in February, I was already out in a t-shirt because like it was like, we ran probably pretty good by the weather, but like it was like, I don't know, 10 degrees or something like that, and then the sun was out full and no wind, and you'd be like, okay, well I can actually be in my t-shirt right now. Whereas right now I'm in the Netherlands, and the problem is not necessarily the cold, it's the wind that's always raging in this coastal town, and the fact that the sky is always pale gray, white, and you don't see a blue sky for weeks sometimes, which is quite depressing. I'm going to raise here, sometimes call, sometimes I guess. So yeah, paying a lot in taxes, which if you'd asked me like 10 years ago, I would have been like, oh, I would love to pay that much in taxes because it means that I'm making a lot of money, right? It's one of those things that, yeah, can't complain about too much, I guess. But like, yeah, there's definitely a lot better value in terms of weather, in terms of like even the infrastructure in Andorra was pretty good in a lot of things. Like it was always like relatively easy to get appointments with the government. For instance, I'd have to like do a medical check and I could go the next day. In the Netherlands, like if I'd need a medical check for whatever reason, it would probably take like a week or so. I remember when I wanted to set up a company again in the Netherlands, like I could get an appointment in like 3 weeks. I was like, okay, fuck. Do I not like, what do I do in these 3 weeks then? Not run the company. Luckily, like we were able to reactivate my old LLC. But yeah, like I might be a bit biased because I don't really have a very strong connection. Like if you live in Amsterdam, it might be different, but How am I going to bet here? I'm going to check quite a bit, I think. I need to check like a lot of flushes, overpairs, a lot of stuff there. I think just range checking and range checking is probably reasonable. What are we going to value bet here? Some overpairs. Guess we're going to have plenty of random 8-9 type. I don't know, stuff that blocks calls like this. Unblock folds, but so yeah, like if my wife is like, I'm going to go downstairs in, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, something like that, 90 minutes. And my wife's like, you know what, Patrick, like let's do it. Let's move back to Andorra. I would be packing my stuff so quick. Like I would be, if she'd tell me like, let's do it, and we're going to be in Andorra in 2 days. I'd be like, okay, I'll repay the lawyers their fees again. I'll get like another lease with like a ton of different costs that associated with that. We'll need to move again, but I would do it in a heartbeat. Yeah. Facing a half pot here, I think we can fold. I've never been in Southeast Asia, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. I don't really miss the sea too much, to be honest, when I'm away. Also, like we went on a few trips, like to Valencia, Barcelona, and like some coastal towns there. So we've seen the sea a reasonable amount. I live like in a coastal town right now near the sea, but the sea is really shitty. So like, if you've got like a really nice sea, okay, I can get behind that. But for me, it's not a big thing. And then downside of Southeast Asia for me would be the bugs and yeah, that's I don't know. Maybe I'm biased there, but like I wouldn't be able to cope. I wouldn't be able to cope properly there. Okay, let's see if we can get some tables again, because we're again a little bit low on the amount of tables that we've got. We're pretty much break even, I think, for the day. Thailand seems cool. Like, yeah. But like also, one problem for me would be I don't really like going on planes. It's not so much that I won't ever go on them, but I dislike the entire process of being, I don't know, like a lot of feet up in the air. I'm not sure how many feet actually we go, but going to race here. Going to call it. Oh wait, you can see that. Fuck. Kind of a shitty turn, to be honest. I'm going to keep on barreling because this guy's quite passive and weak and... how did my children cope with it? My children were 2 and 3, so like wherever we were, the children were kind of. I'm tempted to just bet here. Try to make I think if I bet here and I make a non-10 indifferent. Okay, snap calls. So good. Yeah. Okay. Feel like I'm making a non-10 indifferent there by betting the river, and he might have enough, but also like he might fold them on the turn and then it's just punting. Who knows? Probably the latter though. Might be a punt on the river there. If he's folding like a bunch of his... It's definitely an equilibrium punt. Well, likely an equilibrium punt. Like the diamonds are going to be pretty okay, I guess, but... not sure. Anyway, like how did the children cope? They were fine. Like everywhere where we were, they had a good time. But like especially Andorra is like, really nice because you've got like very large parks. Right. And it's always like images don't really do it justice. What? Like here, for instance, like it looked really nice, and then you had like, I don't know if you can see here, but very large playground. Here you can see it a bit better. Yeah, right, like yeah. So. Not even sure if that's the one that I meant, but I guess a lot of large playgrounds basically. So the kids, like, we would just go to the playground every day. Whereas here in the Netherlands right now, it's like playgrounds are very small. Playgrounds very small, very windy, cold. Like I wouldn't go like over there. You could go grab a cup of coffee, go to the playground. The kids would have fun. We would be able to chill a little bit, drink some coffee. Like it would be great. Like for me, 10 out of 10 trip, right? You'd have some exercise in because you're walking, and usually you're walking with a slope. So like you're walking 20 minutes, 30 minutes to a park, or sometimes less if you want to go closer, but usually we want to go a bit further. Sometimes we'd walk an hour to like a playground that was further away, and then we'd have our exercise in. We'd go hike in the mountains, and like there would be playgrounds in the mountains. Kids would play. We would have either non-alcoholic beer if we were hiking, or like I said, a cup of coffee, iced coffee, that kind of stuff. Hang out with the kids a little bit, go back home. We'd have some exercise in. Kids would have a blast. So for the kids, they didn't really... They love it here, they loved it over there. And if I ask them right now, like, would you want to go back to Andorra? Or like, what did you like more, the Netherlands or Andorra? You're going to get like a 50-50 answer. So I don't think there's like strong preference there. Depends a bit on their mood. But yeah, we looked into a lot of places when we moved. We looked into Malta. We looked into Gibraltar. It's probably going to be fault. That hurts. So yeah, we looked in a lot of places. Vienna, obviously. UK would have been like near the top for me personally, because it's very clear that you don't have to pay taxes on gambling winnings. So, and like in the UK, we could like obviously travel to the Netherlands is very, very quick. Ton of different options, which is the downside of Andorra too, where you're kind of forced to take either a bus ride and then go by plane, or you do it like we did and you go by car and you drive like in our case like 14 hours, and then like someone dies, which people tend to do, especially if they're older. It's a regular. And then you randomly have to travel back, drive back like 14 hours. So yeah, not ideal. Like UK would have been perfect for us, like London or whatever. Less safe, more expensive, but yeah, very good for poker, I think, especially if you're playing higher stakes. Let's casually flop a 9 here. Does this work always? Have I just not been doing it for my entire poker career? Not going to raise, although it would be tempting. But probably raise something. I don't know, like that might be a bit more vulnerable. I was gonna say if he has queens here, he shoves. That would be so funny if he just goes on before they shove. Before they flop shove turn. I'm going, oh wait, you can see that hand. That's good, now we're up. I was going to say I'm going to bet small here because I'm not getting check raised as often. Okay, this is an interesting spot. We are playing versus someone that has played I'm just going to bet large 3 times. He's going to have way too many offsuited ace-x. That is going to call down too often, I think. Just out of curiosity, you don't have to answer, of course. Are there really any losing players after staying for a while in your CFP? I'm happy to answer you honestly there. I don't mind at all. Let me bet this first. This is thin-ish, but probably fine. Sorry, like there's another question. Let me answer the other question first, because tight fold ace, 9 off, 1 big blind more with 4.5 in the pot. Like the more people call, the better your odds are, but typically the tighter you're defending. So I thought it would be close. And then the more people call, the better your odds are, but the more ranges that you are up against. So I figured I would be okay folding there. It's probably close, indifferent. That's fine. Are there really any losing players after being in your CFP a while? Sometimes, yeah. That definitely happens. It doesn't happen very often. Like I can probably think of like the players that were losing on one hand. Like there's a few that come to mind. Like for some, it was like there's different reasons for it as well. So I'm trying to think, and then I want to answer as honestly as possible. Not like tell you some sort of a vague marketing story, but in order to do so, I need to construct my thoughts a little bit. So there's a few types of players that don't do as well. So, like for instance, we've had a few guys from Germany. Germany is really tough to make it work because you're paying extra rake, right? So those don't their ceiling is simply less high. It's just really hard to make it going if you have to pay like another 1.5, 2 big blinds per 100 hands. So the location is quite important in that regard. Then sometimes you have some guys that are able, like especially in the beginning, I was like, I will work with anyone that really wants it. And then you're sometimes working with someone that has a family, a full-time job, and they're trying to make poker work in the evenings and like the little bit of spare time that they've got in the weekends, while they're also taking care of the kids. Like that's really tough. So those tend to have lower success rates. But overall, I would say like the overwhelming majority is moving up. That doesn't necessarily mean that like our CFP is the best option for them, or that they wouldn't have moved up otherwise. We got to see then. Too many requests for buy-in. What the fuck? That's ridiculous. Okay. Sorry. Trying to get a seat here. I have to leave this table because I don't want to play heads up. Lost the table. That's weird. Okay. I was next on the waiting list, but I lost the seat. But I don't want to put numbers out there because I haven't checked this in forever. because I don't really benefit from this, if that makes sense, like how many players are moving up. I did once check it when I did one of my AMAs on Reddit. Like I did some AMAs on Reddit not too long ago. Oh wait, we might have like a 25-50 table. Oh no, wait, it's not 25-50 because like there's someone insta sitting next to me. So there was some heads up going on, but no recreationals probably. At least that's what I think. I'm not going to play 25-50 if I can't bum hunt the living hell out of some recreational for this word. Would have been a pretty decent bet on the turn, I think. But the hard as well, huh? Okay. Sure. I might publish this at some point. Like anonymize all our players' results on how they moved up from a specific level to another. I don't know. Let's see. Trying to find it, like trying to find the queens. 4-5, okay. This one, I think. I'm going to try to find it. Yeah, so this gives a rough idea of the first 10 players. Like this was 3 years ago, so we hadn't had like a lot of finished contracts at the time. Player 1, 25 to 200 now, cleared for 500 now, but dealing with some risk aversion. 15 to 1k, 15 to 500 now, 15 to 500 now, 15 to 50 now. So it definitely does happen. 15 to 500 now, 15 to 500 now, 15 to 2000 now, 15 to 500 now, 100 now, 2000 now. Like I could make a list like this. It would probably be somewhat similar as this. I would guess that most players would move up a couple stakes at the very least on average. But yeah. Why don't you move to Argentina or Uruguay? Family. I've literally got one option, one country I can live in right now. It's the Netherlands. Like I've got young kids, right? Like so, I want them to have a comfortable childhood, and I that's one. If I really needed to make a lot of money, then things might be different. Like I said, if I was 22 years old and I had like 100k to my name or something like that, I would have probably moved and tried to accumulate more wealth. For myself right now, I don't need to make like I know I'm lucky in that regard, right? I don't want this to sound arrogant. I'm grateful for where I am, but luckily the company makes a good amount of money. I still make money playing poker. I do some private coaching. Yeah, like I'm earning much more than I'm spending every month. So yeah, would I love to make more money, play on better sites, play on more sites, not have to deal with like taxes on coin poker if I would want to play there or something like that. Sure, but realistically, that's not where I am right now, and that's fine. Like I can live with that. Like I said in the last stream, I haven't looked at how much money I've got spread out everywhere, because like there's a lot of like some is in home equity, some is in investments, some is in a company, like a lot of different places. So I'm not sure how much money I've got. I've got a rough idea, obviously, but it's not like I'm going to go to the bank and then, or like going to go grocery shopping and then I'm like, fuck, is it all gone now? But yeah, money is not a driving factor. Like I would prefer, if I would want to move, it would probably be right now more for just living in a nicer place. So maybe I'll move within the Netherlands closer to Amsterdam. That I could see happen, but I'll probably stay in the Netherlands. Thank you for the thoughtful answer. You seem quite humble about it, even with the relatively fantastic results your program has. We have done quite well. There's always going to be a range of how happy people are. Like we've had some guys that were like, this is not for me. That happens from time to time as well. And I don't want to be humble just for the sake of being humble. I just want to, I don't want anyone to at any point, like, there's always like an incentive. Like, I guess I'm aware of the incentive that I would have, like, oh, we're doing really well. And like everyone's crushing. And yeah, sure, there's going to be some that are like, but you have that everywhere, whatever. I'd prefer to be honest, make less money, and then get less in conflict with someone that is going to join the CFP and is going to be like, I'm going to definitely make it to 1K or whatever. Like even the numbers that I've shown you, those might be, like I think the average is going to be some in an entire contract. Someone starts at 50 now and ends up at 500 now. And this is also an important point. Like this is basically, it's like someone might be cleared for 500 now and might mix in 200 now. Sometimes you have someone like Gary that joined the team who was playing Russian Cash and is still playing Russian Cash, but is making more money now. So yeah, we've got a very good program, but I wouldn't want to grow it with like false advertising and stuff like that. Like even the advertising that we've done mostly has been YouTube videos, but even that I don't really feel super comfortable doing. Because like the videos that do best are the ones where you're like if you go into the YouTube world right now, like there's a lot of that, and I don't really like doing that. Like no offense to anyone that does, but you gotta play the YouTube game quite well, and that's not something that I necessarily want to do. And we're going to call here. Getting such a good price. So I stopped making actual videos. Like this I kind of like doing because I get to play poker and I like playing poker. But for a long time, we didn't do any marketing, right? Like from, I want to say, like we started in 2021, almost 5 years ago, till 2024, at least. Wait, seed. Fuck, no seed. Did we get a seed? Okay, I think we did. Fucking hell. We didn't do any marketing outside of my blog on Run It Once. I like making videos for Run It Once, but like I got paid for that as well. So other than that, I didn't do any marketing. I know it's not making me the most amount of money, but I won't say I don't care. Like obviously in hindsight, I would have liked to have like more money right now, but I don't like doing that. So yeah, that's why I'm a bit hesitant with like, I don't know. Weren't you one of those folks that had limited time at night and weekends from your blog and had success? It's probably more about determination, effort in the night and weekend warrior. I'm biased. So that's a good point, but let me counter that. I had a lot of success, but let me give you some counters. One of the counters was I didn't have kids. That changed a lot for me. Like now that I've got kids, like that just is a game changer, because you can't not like when I had a girlfriend at the time, now my wife, and we could like basically I would come home from work, let's say at 4:30. I could like study some poker for an hour or so, and then we'd have dinner together, and the entire evening would be mine. Now I can't really do that, or don't want to do that, because the kids are fucking great, right? So if I'm getting home, if I were to get home at 4:30, I would play with the kids because I haven't seen them all day. Then we would have dinner together. Then I have to bring them to bed, brush their teeth, change the diapers, all that kind of stuff. I might be a bit tired because the kids haven't slept like the previous night because they're teething, or like there's other stuff that's going on. In the weekends, I would be able to go 2 days when I didn't have kids, like 2 full days poker, and it would be fine. And obviously, I would like see my girlfriend, and occasionally I would get full blown drunk on a Friday night, and the Saturday would be a write off. So it's also not like I was extremely determined. But like having kids is quite a big difference in that regard. I think that might be a bigger determining factor than working full-time. And then when it comes to working full-time, I was working full-time, but I was lucky in a couple of different ways. One was that I was pretty good. Like my job was not very demanding, is a better way of phrasing it. So that was helpful. Wait, do we have a 25-50 table? Well, wait, we have a 25-50 table. Guy goes all in for 100 big blinds. Well, what's it? Oh, 20 big blinds. Okay. We're going to play some 25-50. I think we might be. We'll see. Oh, well, we are going to play some. I'm not sure how much. Let's put it at that. Fold, I guess. If this guy turns out to be half decent, I'm just going to leave for what it's worth, because he's not sitting in a full stack. Also, I've got 6k. Okay, well, that decides it, I guess. Phew. Okay, cool. We're back. Okay, sorry about that. So I got lucky in that regard, and then I got lucky in 2 more ways. One is I ran extremely well when I moved up from 15L to 2K. So I was winning a lot. Like if I would have run under EV, I would have moved up as well. Like the games were really good. It was COVID time. But I ran, let's just say I ran really good. I ran over EV quite a bit. Then it was COVID, so the games were like really, really good. I got lucky in that regard too. And then it was COVID, and I was a teacher, and so we had homeschooling. I worked on a school with second language learners, aka some expats, mostly refugee children. The refugee children wouldn't always be able to handle things like PCs and like laptops very well. So the homeschooling would be very, very limited. So basically, I would get paid full time for months on end, while having like my work rate slashed by like 90% or something like that. So I got lucky in a couple different ways. I like to think that I would still be here if at least a couple of those components would be not in my advantage, or at least average. But I would definitely not have made it as quickly to 1020. I would not have made as much money. I would, in a lot of respects, it would have been a lot harder for me. So, yeah, like there's a difference between someone that has like 2 kids right now. I'm not saying that they can't make it, right? Like it's nothing against people that have kids, and like we've got people that have kids in the CFP, and we will never like be like, okay, this dude has kids and we'll not take him on or whatever, because chances are he's not whatever. Like we're definitely not going to do any of that. We always try to be as supportive as we can, but it will be having kids are a very big positive for me specifically, in terms of my life EV, but in terms of my work EV, they're definitely not going. They will never be a net positive, because if they're positive for your life EV, then you want to spend time with them. Do we check this? Let's do it. Versus Ivan. What's the top marginal income tax rate in the Netherlands? It is 49.5%. I've got a company, so an LLC, I mean. So then the overall tax rate is going to be a bit lower. And you can keep the tax in the company and then invest with it. So like there's some benefits to that as well. But yeah, taxes are quite high. And then the annoying thing is that for most students, you also have to pay VAT. So let me give you a random example. Like let's just say someone wants to have a couple of coaching lessons, just a random, and we agree that he'll pay 1,000 euros for it. Then 21%, if he's from the EU, 21% is going to be deducted for VAT. So you keep 790 euros. And then out of that, especially when I still was a sole trader, I would pay marginally, probably something like 40-something%, let's say 40%. For the sake of argument, a little bit more maybe, let's say $300 lower. So yeah, it's more than half that you're paying. I think I calculated it at one point, and I got like 40% of the money that was coming in. I got to keep that for myself, which I once like was complaining a little bit with my mother-in-law. And she works in she's like a I'm not sure what it's called in English, I'm not sure, but basically she works with children, a speech therapist, I guess. And I was like, fuck man, I need to pay X amount, like I needed to pay a lot for that year. I need to wire a lot to like the IRS. I'm a bit annoyed by that. And she's like, you must have had a great year. And I was like, okay, yeah, fair enough, that's like a good perspective to have, I guess. So yeah. I would prefer to pay less taxes, don't get me wrong, but I also I'm okay paying more if I make more, if that makes sense. I could pay a higher tax rate. I think that's fine. Like there's some things that I don't really like in the Netherlands right now, like the capital gains tax, where you're paying unrealized gains, which that to me seems ridiculous. But I could live with like a system where any capital gains that you're like actually realize, you'd have to pay quite a high tax rate on. I would be fine with that, especially if we're able to do that for everyone and not just like the lower and upper middle class. But yeah, I guess I'm lucky because I live in a house that is pretty cheap in like monthly costs, because we paid like we paid off our mortgage, or like part of our mortgage. So I don't really need a lot of money to live very comfortably over here. And I make a significant amount of money, more than I need. So I could be like trying to optimize it and, I don't know, move to Belgium because like the capital gains tax is better there, or I could move to some other country with lower taxes on poker, more sites, like all that kind of. But like I'm kind of okay living here in the Netherlands now. I get to be close to my friends, family. I get to speak my own language. That's something that was really tough in Andorra sometimes, where you just speak Catalan, and my Catalan isn't great still. I studied it a bit, but it's hard. I found it really hard, especially when running a company, playing poker myself. There's not a lot of time in a day left for studying. So it was kind of nice being in the Netherlands and having like random conversations in the store and stuff like that. So yeah, I can no complaining for me for the taxes. It's whatever. Also, it kind of depends on what your perspective is on life and what you'd want out of your money. I was talking to someone that might join the CFP the other day, and we were talking a bit about finances and the influence on finances, like how much money do you need to be happy and that kind of stuff. And I thought if I think for myself, like in order for me to be happy, like maximize the happiness, basically, I don't need an awful lot. I need like very little. In order for me to feel secure, I probably will never have enough, if that makes sense. Like it's very easy to have a number in mind and then be like, okay, if I've got that amount of money, then I won't have to work anymore and I feel secure. But then you're like, well, what if I want to pay for my kids' tuition, which in the Netherlands is not much, but like maybe they need some help later on. Okay, maybe I need a little bit more. Okay, then you're like, okay, well, what if the stock market crashes right now? That would be problematic. Okay, I need a little bit more. And then you keep on doing that until you've got way too much money. And you're optimizing for percentages rather than what I think you should be doing, or at least what I should be doing, is I should recognize I need this much to be happy. I will always make this much in any field, quite likely. Like the chances of me getting into a spot where I'd need to work somewhere and I wouldn't be able to make enough money to comfortably live are very small, let alone all the money that I've already accumulated. So yeah, the chances of me at any point in life stressing about money from this point on are very small. I'm not saying that it couldn't happen. It could definitely happen. But not just why, I'm guessing why you're playing so good. I don't feel like I'm playing particularly well. I played pretty okay actually today. Like the what was it, like the king queen hand bluffing the river was quite good. The jack 9 or jack 10 hand where I bluffed the river was pretty good. Yeah, can't complain about my session. can't really get like a lot of tables going. That's the only annoying thing. But we've done like we've tried, and we're just going to keep on playing for a little bit. I'm probably going to wrap up at any point within the next 45 minutes. I'm not sure. We'll see. I remember now I asked my wife to get me a cup of coffee, or at least like make a cup of coffee, I'll get it. And she's like, yeah, sure, I made it. But that's like 45 minutes ago. I completely forgot that I asked her for coffee. I was like a little bit tired. Oh fuck, like when did I ask it? Like more than an hour ago? This is stupid. I didn't mean to do this. Now we're here though, we might as well bet. Because he's going to raise aces pre-flop quite often. But basically there's been a cup of coffee waiting for me for over an hour now. That's stupid. Okay. It's kind of cool. We were down for the session. I think we're up now. So that's good. Might not be an awful lot, but I think we're up a little bit. I've got two tables going on right now, so if you guys have any questions about poker, feel free to ask me. Because I've got fuck all to do right now. Next time I'm probably going to be playing, I don't know, either mixing 1K and 2K or some other option like mixing 500NL or going with something like okay, my fault. Right. This is so tilting, fucking hell. Okay, we got 3/4 here. Can we do it? Okay, cool. I'm betting larger there because seems like a passive recreational, but we know. And next time I'm probably I might mix in like a bunch of the tables, what they're called, like anti-tables. I'm probably not going to do some sort of I kind of want to do a challenge here, so I kind of want to play some. Let me turn the music down a little bit. I probably want to do some sort of a challenge where I'm playing a million hands of rec tables or Russian cash or whatever, and then stream regularly with some sort of a schedule And then, yeah, stream our way to 1 million hands at rec tables or whatever. I prefer to do that at 1K, but especially during the day, there's not too many tables running Tuesday afternoon. Going to be hard to get sufficient amount of tables consistently without going and rec battling a lot. And rec battling is nonsensical for me because, well, I don't expect to be significantly better than the average rec playing 1K. I don't expect to be worse, to be honest. But yeah, that is something that... Oh wait, let me just 3-bet here. And then my rakeback is a lot lower, so that's a problem for me. If I were to get like the high rakeback thing, I would be like, okay, I'm just going to give something here and there and then would be fine. Not really too thrilled about it here. When my net rake is just so high, right? Like that just doesn't seem too appealing. So I'm probably going to be, I don't know, maybe let's see if the 25-50 tables popping off still. Yeah, and like not everyone is the same, right? Like it depends on also like, do you've got young kids? Are your kids a little bit older? I notice now that mine are getting a bit older now. Now I've got like reasonable amount of time in the evenings, so I like to spend it now with my wife, watching TV, reading, whatever. But I'm spending time thinking and studying about poker all day anyway, and I'm working 6 days a week now, or working, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'm working. I don't have a job, but I'm working. It's what Phil Gelfand always says, and I kind of like that. But anyway, like I'm... but if I was working full-time, I would be easier now than when the kids were younger, and it'd be like sometimes the baby would need to be fed at like 9 p.m. or whatever, and that's just tough if you're in a situation like that. Grab some water. I need to bet quite often here. I'm just going to bet this pure. Going B40 always. Okay, so I wonder if you had kids in your grind before you made a large amount of money, would give you more motivated than you are now. Yeah, probably. I would probably want to give my kids a better life. Then I would have used most of the money for that. Now I don't think I can give them a much better life if that means I'm not going to be around as much, if that makes sense. Like the marginal utility of every next dollar I'm making is quite low. Join us at Anti, my friend. I'm Fitzy, by the way. Hey Fitzy, what's up? I saw you won a jackpot. Congrats, man. That's really cool. Maybe I'll play more anti-tables. We will call here. I am hating life a bit here. I don't know about this guy. What? Wait, maybe I know his nickname from before. I played with him before, but I can't remember exactly. Kind of a gross spot to be in. I guess I'm folding, actually. Oh, but what am I doing? Oof, I almost might take a gigantic punt on some other table. Yeah, maybe you can make scenes for that. I've done that in the past, but I didn't want to go through the hassle of resetting that up or and then like having to find a way to switch them. And like what I also, the problem that I used to have back then was that I forgot to switch them, so I wouldn't remember which table was active. Maybe there's a way to like have that highlighted or something like that, but that would be somewhat annoying as well, as I would be talking about like the table that you guys can see right now, but then scene 2 was activated and some other table was activated, so that was something I struggled with quite a bit. What kind of, like, are you playing 500 now anti-tables mostly? 200 now? 1k? Fitzy, because I think I've seen you around at, I think at least 500 now and 1k a fair bit, but I'm not sure like what kind of tables you're playing usually when you play anti-tables. I'm guessing like not a lot of 200 now. Or like 1, 2 and then deep stack, but who knows? Okay. Let me run really, really good here, like extremely good, and let him have rolled like a low frequency pocket queens. Very unlikely going to be pocket queens. This is for the jackpot for those that are not aware. We're going to be calling here. This is also almost never going to be pocket tens, so we can basically say goodbye to the jackpot right now and just play our hand. Chances of him having like specifically pocket tens he could have had when he didn't, if he didn't check raise. Going to lose sometimes versus a queen, but I can't really do anything about it. I think I could potentially change my hand to do a bluff, but I'm not sure if I want to here. But pocket jacks, it seems like a bit too strong. Yeah, like exactly the thing that I was kind of worried about. But yeah, what can we do? Sometimes you like the EV of checking is quite high. So the question is not like, can we make him fold a queen if he has it? The question is the EV of a bet higher than the EV of a check? And the EV of a check is quite high because he's going to have a ton of random give-ups, like, I don't know, like 9, 10 of clubs, stuff like that. Random club backdoors, random flush draws that missed. Yeah. The occasional 8x that's check raising the flop and now giving up. Going to have to check raise a lot. I think this is a bit too weak though. Like king 5, king 7, king 8 are going to be in there. King 3 is probably not. Unless we expect our opponent to play particularly poor against check raise. Oh wait, you can't even see that. Fucking, that's stupid. This one here. I face a c-bet, small c-bet here. Was pondering about check raising. Don't think we check raise this. King 5, king 7, king 8 are going to be check raises. This one, probably not so much. Like one of the reasons I play Russian Cash a lot, or I've played it a lot over the last few weeks, is you get to just sit down, play. No decision fatigue in that regard. You just sit down and play, and games are pretty soft because like rake is quite high, but the pool is pretty bad. I like playing rake tables more, but I really dislike the way it's designed on GG, where I guess on most sides. Like Unibet I really like because you just sit down, open tables, table select a bit. Fucking hell, did we get to see it? Oh, we did. Okay, that's good. You just open tables and you just either play or you don't play. Same thing on Ignition, or so I've heard. I'm mixing here. I'm 3-betting this time. I should actually go bigger than 9. 9 is quite small. How would you compare GG Poker to PokerStars? Yeah, I wouldn't be able to, I'm not able to play on PokerStars. I haven't played on there, I think, since 2021. Even before that, there wasn't really, I didn't play there. I might have played like a few hands there, but not an awful lot. So yeah, for me, I wouldn't be able to tell you what the games look like right now because I can't play there. I have a rough idea, obviously. I think right now, if you open the lobbies, there's probably not going to be more than a couple tables of 200 running. Maybe occasional 500 table, but probably not even. So games are going to be pretty bad. As in, like the quality of the games are going to be pretty good, but like when I want to play, there's not enough action for me to play. Like I wouldn't be able to open. If I were to mono site PokerStars right now, I wouldn't be able to. So it's easy to hate on GG. Let's put 2 aces here. Oh wait, no, don't do it because I'm waiting on the that would be sick if I just miss out on a few K there. But if you're playing 50 then GG is not that bad of an option because the rake, relatively speaking, at lower stakes is not very high. It's usually the higher stakes that have higher rake, but also less options to play on other sides. Like I wouldn't be able to tell you which sides has reasonable action right now. I don't think that many. Like iPoker currently has a couple of tables of 2-4 running, like 6 tables or something like that. No 5-10 tables running. No 3-6 tables running. No 10-20 tables running. So pretty bad. Yeah. Like I personally really like the idea of not winning only rake back, which for most players will happen on GG. Like for reference, like my win rate at 1K over 400k hands is roughly 0.7 big blinds per 100 hands pre-rake back. A lot of it is like back in the day though, like in the high hand checkpool days. So I'm not sure how relevant that is today, but yeah, so hard to compare. It depends on where you're playing, what stakes you're playing, where you're from, what kind of rake back you're getting on GG. It's hard to say. But I personally really like the idea of just getting a few big blinds per 100 for the average rack on the tables. Probably a little bit more for myself, and then win an additional amount in rake back. Whereas right here, you're like even some of the best players in the world are slightly losing, or like barely winning. Like maybe winning 1 big blind, 2 big blinds per 100 hands. Like some of the best players in the world, I mean. There have been a lot of players that when 10-20 came out that were like mass multi-tabling 10-20 and they weren't winning pre-rake back. They were like doing not great. And they stopped doing that. So it's not necessarily yeah, like you're just going to, and then you're going to win from rakeback, and then the occasional jackpot that you're hitting and stuff like that. That is real money, obviously, but it's like it's a lot higher variance, and like it feels a lot worse if you're down 20 buy-ins and then you win a jackpot and you're like, okay, well now I'm break even, but I got really lucky. And that will happen quite often on GG. Getting a very small bet here. I think we're going to call. This is pretty close, but I like calling here because we got some jackpot EV. If the turn is an ace, then we've got like 5% chance of potentially hitting a jackpot. Ooh. Please get a check. Check would be sick. Check, 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 check. Please check. It's really hard to find the bluffs here. He did think about it quite some time, so that's kind of... Which makes me not sure. I think I'm going to call because I'm not sure that this recreational might not be betting pocket queens and then hitting an ace would be insane. This might be a bit wishful thinking, but... Half pot is quite small. I'm just going to call and hope that we get an ace on the river. Ace. Fuck. At least we would have a sweat then. I'm going to check here. I think it's really hard for him to be bluffing if he bluffs the river. If he does, GG. Like I'm going to fold if he shoves, so like this tank is completely irrelevant here. I'm not going to make my decision based off him tanking there or not. The turn is definitely debatable whether we can, like I would fold an equilibrium, but like on the off chance that this recreational is betting pocket queens there and then checking the river on an ace and I win, what is it, like 60k? I'm probably indifferent in that spot by his bet size. Like it's probably pretty close to indifference there. Yeah. Rolling quite low here, so I'm going to call. Are you working on getting the 100% rake back deal from GG? Yeah, like the streamer thing. Yeah, I'm trying to. This is close. I'm leaning towards calling here. On these double paired boards, there's a reasonable amount of leading. I don't think it's going to be in this spot though, because like if the board is like, let's say 5, 5, 8, and then there's another 8. I'm going to have a ton of 8 that wants to lead there. Here I don't really have too many because like I would be check raising a bunch of my 6s, not all, but a bunch of my 6s on the flop. I don't really have that many 3s pre-flop. I'm not going to be bluffing. I think it's relatively easy to just call your aces, and I think it's relatively easy to overdefend there. Okay, I'm not sure what kind of stats this Dido guy is playing. I'm going to call here. If he's playing wider and more aggressive, then I might be more interested in... Like if he's playing 40-20, like the average recreational is, then I would be more interested in going and... Wait, let me raise pocket kings here before I get a fold. And 3-betting here, and 3-betting very wide and linear. Here, I'm not sure, because he's playing 27 VPIP at one table, 42 at another table. I'm not sure. But yeah, basically, that's one of the things I'm trying to do is I get that breakback deal by GG. But we'll see. Good sizing by him. Why don't you have the streamer tag on GG to get 100% rakeback? They want you to stream for 3 months minimum and then have like an average of 40 viewers. Like the average of 40 viewers, I think I'm getting to quite easily. Like today, right now we're at like 123. So like average of 40 is not that hard. But it's the 3 months. So like they want there to be some consistency, which is fair, I think. But yeah. And I've been streaming for 2 weeks now or something like that, so I guess somewhere in May I would be able to get it. But to be honest, I'm not like necessarily streaming because of that. Like it's a nice bonus, like it's a good deal. I'm happy to have it because my rateback is lower, like that's fine. But it's not, wouldn't be like the main thing. The main thing is the fact that I like it. If I didn't like it, it would give me stress or whatever. Then I would not do it. Then the second thing is like I get to draw some attention to my coaching programs, like the CFP and the private coaching program, which is kind of nice. So like the EV of me playing here is something, but then like we've got some guys that join the program because either they like my style or like they now see, hey wait, this guy's streaming 1K, let me check his website, and then they check the website and they're like, oh wait, this is actually pretty cool. Obviously doesn't always go like that, but like there's some players that might go there. And then there's the streamer bonus, so a bunch of different reasons. I think I'm not also giving like a massive amount up here, like in terms of the, yeah, maybe a little bit, but like it's probably quite easily compensated by the other 3 points. So. Let's see if we can win a hand versus this dude. I'm quite likely going to call down if I get another few bets here, because he's been betting every single hand on every street. I have no idea if this is just randomness occurring. It might be. The overbet is a bit gross. I'm going to call, but I don't really feel too happy about it. And that's a really... I'm never going to bluff catch the river. Because he will need to find some bluffs that are very unintuitive at this point. Like, all the draws get there. What are the bluffs that he can have? Like, he needs to have a bluff on the turn. Like pocket threes with a club in order for him to be bluffing here. Wow. So can't win a hand versus him, but we played it well. Yeah, that's the most important thing. Just want to see who this is again. Remember the name, but oh fuck. Okay, that actually don't remember the screen name. Yeah, but some of the best check raise candidates, I feel like I've check raised a lot of these types of spots, but I basically have the best candidate every time. I'm not sure if I need to defend this, to be honest. It is one of the best candidates, but I'm not sure if I need to defend it. Where's a 3-bet? I'm just going to fold, I think, but I'm not sure about it. I might need to. Who knows? I'm going to go b40 with range here. I think on king 6-6. Relatively similar spot. We just get the bet at a very high frequency. I'm just going to bet my entire range. I'm going to be constructing a check range, which I probably wouldn't do here in a tighter formation. Then it would contain more of like pocket aces. This is just going to be in there pretty much always. This is not as bad of a card as it seems, because my opponent will have some pocket fives. He will have some pocket, some 6-5 still, but like that I was already behind. He does have 4-3. Like pocket fours increases a little bit his equity. 5-4. That's a pretty decent call now. Like other than that, it's probably just fine. This is an interesting river. I think I'm going to shove. It is thin though. He has some ace king, I guess. That's the only concern that I have. I'm not going to carve out like a smaller sizing here with half pot, I don't think. So I'm going to go all in or check. I think I'm going to go all in here. But it's kind of gross if he snaps with ace king. If he doesn't snap, that's good. We got the fault, unfortunately. You never told us what flavor the cake was. I missed it completely, by the way. It was banana bread chocolate. My wife tries to make like a lot of healthy things for my kids. She's a stay-at-home mom, so She has a reasonable amount of time to do stuff like that. So she cooks with them and bakes them stuff. And usually it's something like, for instance, we had some friends coming over. They've got kids, or a daughter, I should say, a kid, singular. And they came around on Sunday. So Saturday she baked this cake thing, like this is banana bread thing. That was pretty good, and it's relatively healthy. A lot more healthy than some store-bought cake, because it's like the sweetness comes from the bananas and stuff like that. But yeah. I'm going to wrap up, I think, after this hand, or like I'm going to click sit out and expect blind, I think, and I'm relatively tempted to fold here, to be honest, because this guy seems to be under 3-betting. How it's we don't have a sample, and it's already indifferent. I rolled low, so let's call anyway. Because we can flop this. This is a leading spot, by the way. If we are going to call pre-flop, then we basically have all the sets here, and our opponent doesn't. I'm actually going to go a bit bigger, I think. I'll try to get it in. I'm going to block bet the turn. Like, there's going to be some 10x, which is gross in his range, but plenty of other stuff as well. He insta shoves. Oh, fucking hell. That's gross. Oh, dear lord. Yeah, I gotta call it off here. It's whatever. He has a 10 pretty much always, but yeah. I guess we just run it once and win then. It's the only real solution that I see here. Ooh. No, fuck. I was like, there's like a lot of suits on it. I was so happy. I was like, this must be an 8. It like, was 99% sure it was an 8. Oh well. GG on him. Hope he cashes out, buys something nice for his wife. That's it for the session. Let me see how we've done. Like, I'll look at the results here. Hold on. (24th) is it the 24th today? Yeah. EV graph. Okay. I'll have to scroll down. I'll try to see if I can get it on screen. I think I probably am able to do that. So here we are. And that doesn't feel right because I was down more than 1k. Is this Hold'em? Yeah, this is Hold'em. Okay. That's 3 days show. Maybe there's some missing. Might be some missing, okay. EV graph. So yeah, we are break even. Except for some rake. Like with rake back, probably break even for the session. We were down in the beginning like almost 3k, and we climbed back to plus 1k, and then we lost a little bit towards the end. Okay, cool. Cheers. Thanks you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate that. I really like doing this. It's always nice to see some comments and some positivity in the chat. If you're interested in potentially getting coached by me, work with me, then there's going to be some links in the description. Feel free to check those out. There's like a sale on the private coaching right now because I want to accumulate some more students. I've got like a couple right now and I want to add a few more. So I lowered my prices a little bit. Yeah, so like feel free to check that out. Finachos.poker is my website. If you're interested in a coaching for profits deal or like joining the Nachos Poker program, and then there's a link in the description as well. For now, if you're playing today, good luck at the tables and talk to you guys soon. Cheers.